What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Tinted Visors podcast. We are coming at you with episode 18. What we're going to do is we're going to go through some news recaps. Like always, we're going to go on to some All-Star review, a few more award predictions. We'll hit you with the Rocket as well as the Selkie Award. And then we'll do a bit of a would you rather, pick between two players and sort of see, where our opinions lie. And after that, we're going to go with trivia as always. Let's get it going.
But I don't be getting my flowers. You really thought she would be sweet.
As always, just before we get going here today, card of the day. Special occasion for me, not a card today, rarely, but was fortunate enough to be able to attend the All-Star Game and the All-Star Fan Festival. So we have an Elias Lindholm signed puck. Was doing autographs, got in the line pretty early. Was probably like the 10th or so person to talk to him. Great guy, seems really excited to be in Vancouver. And just super cool that the newest Canuck was there for All-Star Weekend, and being one of the first fans to meet him was really cool.
Pretty lucky. Him having been traded like right before the All-Star Game and becoming a Canuck. So you just jumped on that opportunity. That's awesome. We're going to go with today Nikita Kucherov, jersey patch card, auto patch. It is a patch card. It's just one color, so it looks like a jersey, but it is a patch card. A little more value there. It's numbered to 99. It is actually number 68 of 99, so that's his jersey number switched. For those of you who don't know, if you get a numbered card, then it is their jersey number. It adds a little bit of value. I don't know how much the reverse jersey number adds, but super sweet card, gold and white. The white goes really well with the white jersey that he's wearing. Obviously, one of the best players this season, and hopefully continues to rack up the points, continues to bring this value up for the card. But great card. Love it.
Sweet card. Don't actually remember you buying that. Might have been an Instagram purchase. But yeah, like you mentioned, the one color patch. Love how he's wearing the white jersey in the picture as well. Looks really good. And the auto on card always looks great.
Just moving on to some news recaps. We are a little outdated at this point because it happened just after we released episode 17. But Sean Monahan goes to the Winnipeg Jets for a first-round pick. And props to Kent Hughes getting a first for taking on his contract, re-signing him, giving him a one-year deal, and then flipping him for another first. That's two firsts for one player, rarely ever seen. Good on Sean Monahan for sort of revitalizing his career in Montreal, and he's got a chance in Winnipeg. But yeah, great on the Canadiens GM. Not much to cheer for in Montreal land at the moment, but that is a very successful trade. And the Jets, are they all in? Is that what that means? Are they going to go for more?
Yeah, it may very well mean that. But however, let's go back and look at Sean Monahan and specifically Kent Hughes. That's a Kent Hughes masterclass, like you said, taking on a first-round pick just to take that contract and turning him to a top 6 forward, producing in Montreal, and then being able to ship him out before deadline as one of the deadline's top centers, getting a first-round pick back. Really nice play from Kent Hughes. You'd love to see it if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan. Love this pickup for the Jets. They do acquire some center depth. And yeah, this is pretty close to being all in. I don't think they're going to trade any of their young roster pieces like Cole Perfetti. However, I do think they're gearing up for a big playoff run. Watch out, the Canucks are gearing up, Winnipeg's gearing up, and there's always the Leafs, who knows? They got a lot of talent on that roster. Maybe the Cup comes back to Canada this year, who knows?
Yeah, trades are just starting. Hopefully they ramp up soon. But yeah, Winnipeg all in. Most of their guys are in their primes. Connor, Morrissey, Scheifele, even Hellebuck. They don't have much longer, in this window. They have to win now. They've got guys like Perfetti on their ELCs right now, so great pickup for them. And we'll see what happens. We'll see how they turn out. Moving on, we're going to talk about an injury that happened yesterday at this time. Sergachev falling backwards. It's a gruesome fall. Unlucky. Unfortunate the way his leg sort of bent backwards. He will be out for, I would assume, weeks to months. Hopefully he comes back in the season, but who knows? And, it's a tough hit, and I don't know if they find a replacement. I don't know what sort of assets they can really give up to replace a guy like Sergachev.
Tough bounce for Sergachev and the Lightning as a whole. First game back from injury, and just watching that fall, just a really rough watch. And, the Tampa Bay Lightning, that's a big hit for them. I don't watch too many Tampa games, but I think he quarterbacks PP1 or at least PP2 because at least Victor Hedman's still there. But Victor Hedman's defensive game has really fallen off a cliff, and they really needed Sergachev to kind of stabilize that blue line. So it'll be interesting to see coming up on deadline if the Lightning do decide to make a move to replace him, because the core is getting up there in age, and we're not sure how many chances they're really going to get.
Yeah, really takes a hit on their defensive depth, and you kind of have to think they're going to go out and get someone to replace that. As much as it's gonna suck. Like, I don't want to give up the young pieces that they have and the assets that they have, but it is a business and they have to win now. So we'll see what happens by the trade deadline. I can't think that they just stay quiet. They're going to have to go out and do something, especially knowing the Leafs are going to do something, knowing Boston's probably going to go out and pick up someone. They have to stay competitive in the division. Going over to the other Eastern Division, though, the Metro, Tristan Jarry has his league-leading 6th shutout of the season, and they're still 5th in the Metro. What's going on in Pittsburgh? Why can't they help out this goaltender?
Tough look for Pittsburgh, making the splash of the offseason acquiring Erik Karlsson from the San Jose Sharks. Led by Sidney Crosby, who is having, almost a resurgence. Everyone's kind of waiting for age to catch up to him, and he's saying no, putting up great stats alongside Jake Gensel. And honestly, I don't even know what's going on in Pittsburgh. You see a guy like Jake Gensel in the trade rumors. It's tough. It's a tough look. This team should have been a playoff lock. We thought they were going into this season, and I just don't think they have the depth to compete, Kenny. It's tough. I still think they're in the playoff race, but it's going to be tough moving forward.
Yeah, like you said about the race, I mean, they're slowly slipping out, and their power play has been a really big struggle right now, and that's part of the reason why they're so low in the standings. And I don't know, like, do they keep Gensel, or do you have to trade him at this point? Like, are they going to go into the deadline looking like sellers?
Honestly, with that core, Chris Letang, Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, even Erik Karlsson, you have an aging core. I don't think you can trade Gensel. I think you have to try and stay competitive, and you owe it to Crosby at least. It's been his whole career he's been there. I think you got to make some kind of last ditch effort at the trade deadline, make a splash, and at least try to squeak into the playoffs.
Gensel could take the Crosby approach and take a team discount, but he's due a lot of money, and I think he could cash in for $9-10 million on his next deal. Speaking of teams sort of slipping out of the playoffs, I will give you 3 teams, and you let me know whether they are still in the hunt or if they have fallen out. The Seattle Kraken, the Arizona Coyotes, and surprisingly, the New Jersey Devils.
I'll start with the Seattle Kraken. Unfortunately, I will say they're out. Making a second round appearance last year, then going and missing the playoffs isn't a great look on a team full of veterans and has that number one D in Vince Dunn. I think they're just lacking that star forward, Kenny, and it's hurting them point production wise. It really helps to have just that number one guy. You see teams in the playoffs right now, the Canucks, the Golden Knights, the Oilers, and even the Kings in a wild card spot. That's 4 teams in the Pacific that I like much more than the Kraken, their chances. Even the Calgary Flames, I like a little bit more to maybe squeak into the playoffs. So to me, I think they're just falling out of the race, and barring, a huge win streak from the Kraken, or a huge, like if the Kings keep losing, then they may be able to, slip in and take over. But for me, they're out.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not really the end of the world for them. I think they kind of overreached last year, and they have a bunch of young pieces. So I think you move on from maybe a guy like Jordan Eberle or maybe a couple other rentals, pick up some assets, and come back a little stronger next year. Going over the next team, similar situation, Arizona Coyotes. They started out pretty hot. We were talking about it. Hopefully maybe they could bring the playoffs to Mullet Arena, but they have slipped out in recent weeks, months, and they're sitting 6th right now, behind even teams like St. Louis and Nashville. But even cracking that top 3 of Colorado, Dallas, and Winnipeg, it's going to be a tough thing to do, and I just don't think they have it in them. They did take very good steps this season, showing that they are a little bit more of a competitive team. But as far as I can see, it's looking like another long off season for them.
But don't get it twisted, Coyote fans. This is a huge win of a season. The emergence of guys like Connor Ingram, Clayton Keller continuing to produce. Hope is high in Arizona. Would have been cool to see playoffs in Mullet Arena, and there still is a chance, even though we both think they're out. But yeah, I think this deadline, time to reassess, sell some pieces that you don't see with you long term. Maybe a guy like Matt Dumba. But yeah, Arizona, I think look next year. We've got a young core, and hope is definitely high. Last team we're going to talk about here is an intriguing one. It's the New Jersey Devils. Kenny, where do you see them finishing the year?
It's tough to say. I mean, every time we talk about them, we keep saying, oh, they'll turn it around, they still have a chance. But we're just not seeing that right now. We talked about the Pittsburgh Penguins and them not doing well, and New Jersey's even lower than they are in the standings. They're tied right now, but New Jersey's played an extra game. Yeah, you can say, it's an injury-ridden season, and that is a good excuse. They lost a lot of games played due to injury, with Jack Hughes, with Nico Hischier, Dougie Hamilton, the big boys. And, Jack Hughes is coming back, but it's getting a little late for them, and I don't know if they can turn it around at this point.
I'm going to be on the other side here of you. I do think they managed to bounce back and make the playoffs. Yes, it is late in the season, but Jack Hughes, at the time of recording, has been activated, and that's huge. This is a completely different team with Jack Hughes in the lineup compared to him being out. And you look at that top six forward core, it is just too good to say that it's going to miss the playoffs. Just going back to Jack Hughes, arguably been a top five player this season when he's been healthy. So it's super exciting for the league and the New Jersey Devils to see him back on the ice. We'll see if they can bring it back, but I have high faith in the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, Philly is, falling down the standings, so maybe they could take advantage of that. But maybe, this is a little bet that we can make. Maybe we can bet a pack of hockey cards to see if New Jersey makes the playoffs. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it right now. What do you want? One pack? One pack if they make the playoffs?
We'll say maybe we'll look two packs. Two
Two
packs.
packs,
I think
sure.
2 packs they won't make the playoffs.
All right, sure, you got a deal. We'll see at the end.
All right, guys, you heard it here first. The deal is in place. We will meet you guys at the end of the season for the outcome. Yeah, we did want to touch on the All-Star game. It did happen last weekend, and Caden was very fortunate enough to attend that game. Just tell me about it. What was the experience like? For me as an outsider, it doesn't look as good as it did in years past. 5-10 years ago, the All-Star game. So let me know, give me some insight. What do you think?
Yeah, so started with the fan festival. Actually didn't have any plans on going to the All-Star game, but there was a VR hockey booth kind of set up, run by a former pro actually, Andrew Alberts. Shout out Andrew Alberts. Got to meet him, chat with him. It was a pretty cool experience. And the winner of, like the goalie VR thing actually would win 2 tickets to the All-Star game. So me and my buddies, we were trying it, and my buddy actually got the high score with about 5 minutes to go in the competition to win the tickets. Awesome experience. Love the tournament format. You get to see 3 different games. And yeah, just all-stars everywhere. It was really cool to watch. Definitely has, I think, fallen off a bit, but I love the 3-on-3 format. Getting to watch guys like Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid just really show off the speed. It's a treat to watch in person, and was super grateful to be able to attend it. Another big headline from the All-Star weekend was actually in the skills competition, and Nikita Kucherov. Kenny, that's your boy. That's your Tampa boy. What happened during the skills competition? Why was there such a big lack of effort?
That is my dog's Nikita Kucherov. I've thought about it a lot, and while I don't agree with what he sort of did, and the lack of effort that he did show, I do think it's hard to it's hard to expect these guys to put on 100% effort in a skills competition when in years past it has shown to be something that's sort of boring. Maybe some skills competitions that weren't very fun for the athletes to do. With that being said, this year did seem to have some more fun stuff, but with the years leading up to it, wasn't the most fun thing to do, so you can't really blame the athletes for not trying their 100%. I did kind of expect at least 60-75% out of him, which we did not get, obviously. And the other thing is that I don't think they chose to participate in the skills. You take 12 guys and you sort of force them into skills. Maybe he didn't want to do that. Maybe he just wanted to play the All-Star game, maybe just relax. So maybe give them the option, see who's sort of willing to do it. Maybe that's sort of how you get players with more effort. That being said, though, I don't agree with everything that he did. It was kind of funny to see the Toronto fans boo. They're just I guess just a little more wood to the fire. But that's my opinion. Maybe a little biased. I don't know. I don't want to defend him too much, but I do think there were external factors, sort of why he had lack of effort, and I think that could have been easily avoided if they just asked him, or asked someone else to who wants to participate and who doesn't.
There is a super fine line, whether the All-Star skills competition and the weekend as a whole, if it's for the players or more for the fans. So, like some players, like you said, may be unhappy with the skills competition and almost being forced to participate if they want to play in the All-Star game. And I don't blame Kucherov for really that lack of effort, but it's for the kids. You got a bunch of little kids looking up to him. It's not a great look. Maybe they'll understand as they get older, but for now, he's got to realize that he's a role model and kind of at least, like you said, a 50% or 75 instead of just half-assing every single event. So I was there for 2 days of the festival. Guess the top 3 jerseys of teams.
I'll go Toronto.
Toronto is one of them, yeah.
The way you're asking it, I'm going to go with Vancouver.
Vancouver was one of them, yes.
Just because it's nearby or closer, Montreal?
There was a decent amount of Montreal fans, but it was actually a lot of Bruins fans. And then
Wow.
also a lot of Edmonton fans just wearing McDavid jerseys and McDavid All Star jerseys. But yeah, super cool. I was very surprised with the amount of Canucks fans that I saw at the festival, but love to see it. Obviously, the Canucks are having a great year, so it kind of makes sense. Maybe some of these fans are coming out of nowhere, coming out of hiding now that they're succeeding. But yeah, overall, All Star weekend was an awesome experience. All right, so just moving on to our weekly segment of the award predictions this year. We'll start with the Rocket, Kenny. Who do you have taking it at the end of the year when it's all said and done?
It's going to be Austin Matthews, already 41 goals this season. He's going to, very capable of getting 60, maybe even pushing 70. Who knows? But he is just on fire, leading the Leafs offense, scoring pretty much every single game. But it wouldn't be debate without talking about some kind of guys that are catching up. Caden, who's close, and who do you think could steal it away from him?
Coming out of the Florida Panthers, we have Sam Reinhart. At the time of recording, he does have 37 goals, which is 4 behind Matthews. But he's in a contract year. He's on a very good Florida Panther team surrounded by talent. He's been an absolute menace on the power play, so we'll see if he can score some more goals, even strength. Has actually got a couple goals shorthanded, but I think the even strength and more importantly the power play is what matters most. In the contract year, like I said, he's playing really well. So for me, I think if anyone besides Matthews has a chance to win it, it is Sam Reinhart.
Only 4 goals behind. It's a very big possibility. It's just knowing Matthews, it's most likely going to lean to him. Another name, David Pastrnak's not that far out. 33 goals on the year. He could go on a tear, score a lot of goals. He is their main man in Boston, so he will be getting all as many opportunities as they can give him. But a dark horse coming out of Vancouver, Brock Bestor's already got 30 goals. Where do you think he can go in sort of range? 50, 60? How many do you think he can get?
Besser's been smashing expectations, has also been getting kind of lucky. I think the shooting percentage is also a bit inflated. So to me, it's tough to say where he could end up. He could finish as a 40 goal scorer all the way up to like mid 50s. So for me, I hope he gets at least 40. I can see him finishing in the mid high 40s. I don't think he's got it in him to crack 50, but if he's ever going to do it, it'll be this year. Definitely rooting for him too, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think 40 is a really big possibility, and 50 would be really cool. Vancouver hasn't seen that in a long time. And, their offense is only improving, right? They pick up Lindholm. I would assume they're going to pick up someone else and really sort of improve that top six, and that's only going to help those goal totals.
All right, so now just moving on to the Selkie. Instead of talking about some favorites, Kenny, let's mix it up. We'll start with a dark horse. Who is your dark horse to take home the Selkie trophy?
A little biased, but, he's got really good stats this season. Brandon Hagel, I think he's got, a pretty good shot, to collect a couple of votes. And, if he keeps it up, maybe, crack that top three. But he's got a good goals above replacement stat. He also plays top minutes against top lines, and he can shut them down. He's got that work ethic all around both ends of the ice. A very good 200-foot player. At the end of the day, it's most likely going to be, someone, probably a center, but someone maybe of a more, notable reputation. But, there's no harm in throwing his name in the hat. I think he could make a pretty strong case.
You talk about like a more known name and a center. That's what we're going to do. I think Alexander Barkov is going to be able to take this one home this year. Bergeron's out of the league. Kopitar's getting a bit older. Couturier just got back. I think that opens the door for Barkov. Even Nico Heischer's been injured. So you look at the most elite two-way centers in the league who have been healthy and been playing well, it's Barkov. And, I think he can take it home. He plays really well on both ends. And I know the Selkie's not supposed to include offensive production, but notoriously it kind of has. If you're not scoring at least 60 points, you're probably not going to win the award. And Barkov's well above point per game right now. I think he takes this one home.
Yeah, you mentioned Bergeron. He's, retired now. Next man up is Alexander Barkov. And, he's got really good stats, obviously a great reputation. The only thing that sort of takes away from him this season is, the emergence of Sam Reinhart in his defensive game, too. He's making a very strong case. Similarly, he's got great goals above replacement stats. And, he plays a lot of shorthanded minutes. And like you mentioned earlier, gets a lot of shorthanded goals, prevents a lot of goals. He's really smart in the defensive zone. Obviously, they're working really well together. I don't know if that, impacts either of their chances. Maybe that lowers it just because they have, very smart defensive teammates. But, both those guys should be in that conversation.
My question for you, does it strengthen your argument to be a center, or I guess the question should be, does it hurt your argument if you're a winger, considering the center has a lot more defensive responsibilities?
As much as I don't think it should, I think it does. And that's just because, the reputation of what a center is. They are basically that third defenseman in the defensive zone. They are, shadowing around that net area. They are giving support to the defenseman in the corners. And I think that's a big reason why it's basically always a center that wins. I think if they did give it out to wingers, I think Mark Stone should have won a couple in the past couple of years. And because that hasn't happened, I just can't see wingers sort of coming away with this award. I do think, they should have an equal chance. But like I said, it's just because the center becomes essentially a third defenseman in that zone while the wingers are at the hash marks on the board, sort of waiting for that breakout. I think a center has a higher chance of winning this award. Just like I said, we're going to be talking about some would you rathers, and right now we're going to talk about some, prospect pools, some younger players, and we're going to talk about two goalies. Two of the probably most hyped up goalie prospects in the league right now. We've got Jesper Wallstedt against Yaroslav Askarov. And for me, I gotta take Askarov. He is a little bit older, so that may impact, the stats a little bit just because goalies take a little long to develop. So he is further along that development. But 11th overall in 2020. It is kind of rare to see goalies go in the first round, but he did. He's a very good prospect. Right now, he's got a 2.17 goals against average, as well as a 921 save percentage in 24 games with Nashville's AHL team. And I think he is a stronger goalie. Obviously, he's got that personality. We've seen that in, videos time and time again. And I think, with a mentor like UC Saros, who's also a very good goalie, I think they could both become very solid goalies in the NHL. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Saros. He's got a very team-friendly contract and could be a very, enticing piece at the trade deadline, especially with Askarov playing so well, and he could be the goalie of the future. But as of right now, I think Askarov's got the edge on Wallstedt, and I would rather him in my prospect pool.
Two very good goalies. I do believe they will both be elite goalies in this league one day. However, like you said, I do also agree that Askarov has a slight edge. Has played well everywhere he's gone. KHL, AHL now, and we saw him at the World Juniors, notorious for repeatedly dropping his stick, which was a little bit concerning at the time, and he didn't play great actually at the World Juniors. Looked quite shaky. However, now that he's in the AHL, getting used to North American ice, I think he's settling in really nicely, and Predator fans should be really happy with this. Going from Pecorine onto UC Saros and now hopefully onto Askarov, that would be a dream, would be a treat. Hopefully he pans out, but as it looks right now, he is the next great Russian goalie coming out of that pipeline.
Yeah, like you said, Nashville Predators in their history have no idea what a bad goalie is, and it doesn't look like they're gonna find out anytime soon. Next one up, we're going to go with the second and third overall picks in the last draft. Obviously, it's so early to tell who's better, who you would take. They're both super young. But Caden, who do you have? Leo Carlson or Adam Fantilli?
Just going to preface this by saying I would be extremely happy to have either of these guys on my team. Both super talented, great young guys, really bring a lot of energy. However, I'm going to take it. I'm going to give it to the second overall pick. I'm going to give it to Leo Carlson. Has, missed a little bit of time with injury and also been on the load management thing that the Ducks were trying with him. But in the games he has played, he's taken on a lot of responsibility and he's looked great. 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points in 31 games played. Solid numbers for a rookie. Center, obviously, been playing, for a not so great Ducks team and still producing at that rate. That's very good. I think his ceiling is also a little bit higher than Fantilli's in the future. Only time will tell, but for now, I'm going to take Leo Carlson.
Yeah, obviously we strive for having debates on this, but, I have to agree with you as well. I think at this point, I would take Leo Carlson. He's just got that really big build, who's able to skate really fast and have very good hands. He's sort of got, that Evgeny Malkin, Leon Draisaitl kind of build with that skill set on top of it, which is just so vital when you're looking at, your future number one center. And, looking at the team as a whole, he's got very good mentors in guys like Adam Henrique, Alex Kaloran, even Cam Fowler, just guys who can help mentor him into a professional NHL player. And he's got young guys to play along with him. They're going to be a very good team down the line. We'll see what happens with Trevor Zegras, but they brought in Cutter Gauthier. They're going to be really good. He and Leo Carlson is going to be at the center of that. He has a very big skill set. He has a lot of potential. And this might just be because Adam Fantilli plays in Columbus, and maybe that's why he gets less coverage. But right now, it does seem like Leo Carlson gets more coverage, gets more popularity. Right now, I think, I would take him in my pipeline. Alrighty, we made it to trivia time. I will go first. I have a brand new one for you. I have a list of line combination nicknames. Start it right off the gate. The perfection line.
Perfection line. We have David Pasternak, Patrice Bergeron, and Brad Marchand.
The HBK line.
The HBK line. We have Carl Hagelin, Nick Bonino, and Phil Kessel.
The Lotto line.
Lotto line, 649, Besser, Petey, Miller.
West Coast Express.
Ooh, West Coast Express. A little bit older Canucks. Actually, not super sure about this one. I think Brendan Morrison is in there. Marcus Naslund? You know, I feel like Morrison would have centered the line. I'll say Todd Bertuzzi.
There you go.
Okay.
That's 3 for 3 for the West Coast Express. The triplets.
The triplets. Is this a reference to that Tampa line? Oh, I think it is. Nikita Kucherov, Tyler Johnson, Andre Palat.
Oh, the Jofa line.
Jofa line. Can you tell me what team it was for?
They played for the Nashville Predators. It's Ryan Johansson, Philip Forsberg, and Victor Arvidsson. Those are
Never heard of that.
I remember that.
Makes sense.
The mattress line.
Ooh. I know the guy's last name. I don't know his first name. It's the twins. So it's two twins and a king. So it's Daniel and Henrik Sedin. And then what's his first name? Dwayne?
Jason King.
Jason King. Okay.
They won a couple cups. We're going to go with that 70s line.
Jeff Carter? Is Jeff Carter in there? And is Tanner Pearson in there? I feel like that's Tyler Toffoli.
Tyler Toffoli, that 70s line.
So just moving on, Kenny. I have a list that I'm going to send to you of 10 players, and you organize them by their age. So, saw this on, I think, the Breadbasket TikTok. Shout out to those guys. So, yeah, it's 2 points if you get it in the right spot, 1 point if you're one off, and then none if you're anything further than that. Submit your list to me whenever you're ready. Youngest to oldest, yes.
So we'll go with Connor Bedard. See, Owen Power and Luke Hughes are the same draft class. Owen Power, Luke Hughes, Elias Pettersson. I don't think anyone's around him. Nikita Kucherov, Patty Kane, Sidney Crosby, Brent Burns, Lemieux, Gretzky.
Let's take a look. So, Connor Bedard, the youngest, got that. That's 2 points. The second youngest player is Luke Hughes. So you put Owen Power, 1 point there. Luke Hughes is 20. Then Owen Power shortly behind. There's 1 point again. He's 21. And then from there on out, you're perfect. Elias Pettersson, 25. Bang. You were right. No one was around him. Kucherov, Kane, Crosby, in that order. 2 points apiece. Then you got Brett Burns, Lemieux, and Gretzky. Wow. You only messed up one. Did a lot better than I thought. Good for 18 points. Might have to make it a bit harder on you next time.
Alrighty, my second trivia. Another different one. I'm just going to give you a word or a series of words, and you just give me the first player you think of when you hear the word. Hot dog.
Phil Kessel.
There you go, Phil Kessel. Lick.
Brad Marchand.
Brad Marchand. Magic.
Magic. Pavel Datsyuk.
Pavel Datsyuk is what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Serious.
Serious. Jonathan Taves.
Jonathan Taves is correct. I will take two players for this one. Ya nerd.
Ya nerd. We'll take Travis Konechny and Jake Gensel.
Those are both the options, yeah. Next one, similar to ya nerd, we'll go with pigeon.
Pigeon. Oh, man. Claude Giroux.
Claude Giroux is correct. Next one up, we'll go nasty.
Nasty. That one's kind of hard. I would say Nasty Nathan McKinnon.
That's a good guess. I was thinking of Biz Nasty.
Okay, yeah.
Next one up, Fortnite.
Fortnite, Patrick Laine.
That is who I'm thinking of. Next one up, It's Only Game.
It's Only Game, Ilya Brishgalov.
That is correct. Last one. I'm not sure if you're going to get this. We're going to go Slap Fighter.
Slap Fighter. Can't think of someone off the top of my head. I would imagine it's someone who's...
I'll give you a demonstration.
Okay, sure.
That helps. That help?
No.
You know what I'm talking about? No? Damn, so I look stupid for no reason. I'm looking for Alex Semin when he fought the Rangers player.
Okay.
Just slapping him on the ground. You seen the video?
Don't remember that at all, but...
no point in that. But no, you got pretty much all of them. That was pretty good. That was pretty impressive.
That was fun. That was good, especially the ending. I really liked that that example for me. You know, really helped out the visual aspect of it.
Clearly not. But it was fun.
All right, Kenny. So my last trivia question for you today. I think we should bring it back in, a segment for a trivia, but we're going to be doing Guess the Player. I'm going to give you 8 questions, 8 yes or no questions to guess the player. They're currently playing in the NHL. Good luck. We'll see how you do.
Alrighty. Do they play in the East Conference?
They do play in the Eastern Conference, yes.
Do they play in the Metro Division?
They do not play in the Metro Division.
Do they play in Canada?
They do not play in Canada.
Do they play for a city that starts with the letter B?
They do.
They play for the Bruins.
They don't play for the Bruins. That's 5 questions. Might have to extend it to 10, but we'll see how you do. 5 questions in.
Are they a forward?
They are a forward.
Are they a center?
He is not a center.
Is he Canadian?
He is Canadian. That is 7 questions.
Wait, is your player Jeff Skinner?
My player is not Jeff Skinner. That is 7 questions. We'll extend it to 10 here. See if you can get it.
Is it Jack Quinn?
It is Jack Quinn. There you go.
Quinn, there you go.
Yeah, I didn't realize he wasn't in the lineup. That's my bad. But yeah, just thought of him off the top of my head. I was like, let's do Jack Quinn today.
That wraps up the trivia, and that wraps up the episode. A lot of good content, a lot of good news coming out in recent weeks, and I expect, the news to keep on coming. A lot of trades going to come up soon, maybe some extensions, who knows, but that's it for this week.
Yeah, we're officially in the exciting time in the NHL. Trade deadline, playoff races, and then eventually the playoffs. Kenny and I are going to be covering it all. Looking forward to it. Make sure you follow us on our socials. We are trying to be more interactive with you guys. So if there's anything that you want to see in any episodes, be sure to let us know. We're happy to listen to it, happy to incorporate it in. But that's going to be all from us for today.
We're going to do some trade deadline previews eventually. Going to get those started up for you. But for now, that's all we got for you guys. And until next week, take care.
But I don't be getting my flowers. You really thought she would be sweet. It's a whole nother level of sour.